Breaking news. After nearly 4 months, the USS 9 has finally been nerfed. But alongside this, there have been multiple other notable changes in the next season's patch notes. My name is Lock and Load, and let's dive in deeper into these patch notes. Stick around to the end of the video for the review of the USS 9 nerfs. The MG42 got hit with some really harsh nerfs. Its chest and upper arm multipliers have been reduced. Apart from this, the 8mm Jaeger 250 round box attachment also got hit with substantial mobility nerfs, with its ADS time penalty going up and an additional ADS movement speed penalty being added. The combination of these nerfs will make the MG42 a lot less consistent in its time to kill, and with these mobility nerfs on the popular magazine attachment, it might no longer be as powerful of a run and gun option, but more of an anchoring option. At least it still keeps its low recoil. The Odin has received nerfs to two of its most used attachments, the YKM Light Stock and the Operator Foregrip. The Light Stock now has increased flinch, and the Foregrip will now reduce your ADS movement speed. Though these are some scary nerfs, they are not extremely harsh and will not affect the Odin much in the long run, except now it's not as safe to do longer range gunfights due to the flinch increase. The HSO45 received a minor nerf in the fire interval. This is quite a laughable nerf, as it will not change this gun's position as a top tier shotgun. Now, instead of adding an additional hit flinch penalty of 12% to the low stock, it's going to the hollow point magazines. Also, some barrels have been buffed and nerfed. Very minor, you can see that on screen right now. Now this change won't really affect you all that much unless you were used to challenging hand glitches or distances really far away with the CX type burst, which most players tend to not do anyway. The Man of War unfortunately did get a buff to its infamous thermite attachment. Its damage profile has been updated to these new values. This buff does mean that in its first range, this gun will make the usage of Dauntless and Flag Jacket a bit more redundant. Still not a bad perk combo, but now it's no longer gonna be a true hard counter to this gun. May God save us all. The AQ117 received a minor buff to its ADS movement speed, which is not a lot but will make it ever so slightly less sluggish to use. The ISO2, just like the AK117, got a minor buff, this time to its base movement speed. This will, alas, not make much difference to the gun's overall performance. The Striker got two buffs, one to its ADS time and the second to its ADS BSA. These changes make the Striker 45 much more reliable and faster to use. It still does not make it a viable competitor to the USS 9, but if you do ever get bored of the USS, at least the Striker will now perform slightly better than before. The enhanced ball perk of the QXR got a buff to its chest multiplier. Now this may not always come in handy, but it could occasionally help you out. The QQ9 got a few really good buffs. The base ADS PSA has been nicely improved, and alongside this, the 10mm 30 round magazine attachment got its bullet impact buff increased. The combination of these changes makes the QQ9 quite the beast in both CQC and mid-range helicopters. The PPSH got a minor buff to its base movement speed. Not a lot, but the Speed Demon build users might appreciate this change. The Tech 9 got a buff to its hipfire spread. This change will make the hipfire much tighter, allowing you to use it much more reliably. The PKM had its flinch reduced. This will make it easier to keep your aim at the enemy during engagements. Here are some miscellaneous nerfs and buffs to operators, etc., and you can pause to check them out. Now we have some VR changes before we get to the juicy MP ones. The AK117 got some nerfs to its damage profile and BSA. Its damage profile was nerfed. This change will add an extra shot to its shots to kill in the second range. Now it has a fairly noticeable TTK gap compared to other upper tier ARs, which can potentially push it down a tier, but this needs playtesting. Meanwhile, the BSA was nerfed from 11.4 to 11.5. While the BSA nerf is literally a joke, the damage nerf will give a bigger window for the other upper tier weapons with faster time to kill. One of these weapons is the M13 that got buffed in VR, which got a BSA buff by the way. The biggest issue prior to this change was the worse than average BSA, which limited your attachment choices. Now you can actually forego a BSA attachment in favor of better recoil. And since the M13 already has excellent time to kill and fast bullet speed, we can see this being a top tier option. Even after the nerf last season, the Tech 9 is still the strongest SMG in VR, so the devs have nerfed it again. By reducing reducing the stomach and arm multipliers along with bringing its hipfire spread back to the state it was on initial release. The damage nerf will impact the close range time to kill against 250 HP, making it identical to the CX9 burst, although the time to kill against 300 HP is unaffected. The hipfire nerf also means that you have to ADS more, but given the burst nature of this gun, it is still fairly accurate, since the spread partially resets between bursts. The Tech 9 will still be a top tier SMG because of the massive time to kill gap compared to most SMGs, just that it won't be ridiculously busted anymore. Now, before we cover the nerfs to the USS 9, a rather surprising nerf has surfaced for the Type 19. The Type 19 got hit with nerfs to its base sprint speed from 6.34 to 6.1 meters per second. On top of this nerf, the main barrel attachment of the Type 19, the supportive long-range barrel, also got a nerf, with its movement speed penalty being increased from -2 to -4. The combination of these nerfs is devastating for this rifle, since even if its performance in different ranges is the same and it still has the same good BSA and everything, the mobility penalties being so harsh, it's not going to be a fun time utilizing those qualities, and the devs want to make you regret not buying the Mythic XM4. And now finally to the USS 9 nerfs, and it is just a step towards the right direction. The gun's .41 AE magazine and no stock attachments got nerfed. The .41 AE mag will now have a 15% ADS BSA penalty, hamstringing its mid-range performance by a bit, and its no stock attachment has a reduced ADS movement speed buff, down from 20% to 12%, which will definitely make the gun's strafing performance worse. As mentioned, these nerfs are well in the right direction to keep it in check, but it's still not addressing the fact that it still keeps its amazing range and the fact that its BSA will still not be all too bad. That's a wrap for the video. What do you think about these patch notes? Let us know in the comment section down below, and make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Going dark.